Namaste and welcome to the fourth segment of this module. We are stepping now into a space that's full of energy, precision and tradition, India's martial arts. Indeed, India has had a martial art tradition, learning tradition, full of warriors and warrior training. Martial arts have also not been only about fighting. They've also been about learning how to move with control, with purpose and with memory. Some of these forms, they trained warriors, some became ritual, some simply turned into performances. And while the forms change, swords in one region, sticks in another, wrestling anywhere else, the purpose doesn't. What we see again is difference in detail, but alignment in ideas. Let's talk about, for instance, the weapon-based combat arts. You see, the body has always been a place where knowledge is stored, not only through work or worship, but also through disciplines. And martial arts are one of the clearest examples of this. They are found in fields, mandirs, stages, akhadas, local gatherings, even in religious festivals. They teach people how to move, but also how to remember, how to focus, how to live with a purpose. In Kerala, Kalaraipattu trains the body with sword, staff and urumi, a blade so flexible it coils like a rope, but it strikes with speed. In Tamil Nadu, the movements of silambam flow through rotation of long bamboo stick. In both, it's as much about precision and balance as much it is about strength. And then, without missing a beat, the same kind of movement appears thousands of kilometers away in Punjab's Gatka, where warriors move with kirpans and wooden swords in a rhythmic circular sequences. Or in Odisha's Paika Akhada, where martial drills with shields and spears are performed during festivals like Rath Yatra. These aren't isolated systems, but local answers to questions like how to protect, how to prepare, how to stay ready. In Manipur, the sword and spear meet again in Thangta, a martial form shaped as much by footwork as by fighting. And even in the mountains of Sikkim or the villages of Bihar and Bengal, we see echoes of same discipline in the use of, let's say, kukri. In the rural training grounds where young boys still learn to fight with a lathi. So the weapons change, bamboo in one place, metal in another, but the meaning holds. Train the body, stay focused, pass it on. You clearly see the Jnana Parampara and Laukik Prayojana here. These forms aren't copies of each other, by the way. They grow in different places, in different histories. But they all shape the body to hold tension and release it with care, to fight if needed, but more importantly, to know how. Then there is this whole range of unarmed combat systems. Martial skill isn't about what you hold in your hand. Sometimes it's about how you hold your own body. In mud akhadas of northern India, Pehlwani is still taught much like it was 100 years ago. Wrestling in silence, before sunrise, guided by tradition, more than words. In much of Bihar, Banaras, UP, Malla Yuddha, a name you'll still find in old texts, follows many of the same rules. Something similar to wrestling are the talims in Kolhapur, in Maharashtra. In Gujarat and Haryana, akhadas is still a place where breath and movement are shaped by practice, not performance. Go towards east and you will find the same energy. In Assam, Bohu wrestling is part of Bihu. In Manipur, Mukhna is part of Lai Haraoba. These are contests, yes, but they're also rituals. Rituals and ceremonial martial practices is yet another identifier. In many regions, martial movement didn't stay confined for training, it became part of the ritual. It took on a ceremonial role. And so everybody in the community participated, everybody became a strong body and a strong mind. In Kerala, one form of Kalaraipattu is performed, as part of temple offerings. The movements follow a fixed sequence. They're still precise, still powerful. But now they're done as a mark of respect. The training remains, but the outcome is different. This shift from combat to ceremony appears again in Odisha and Jharkhand. In Mayurbhanj Chhau, for instance, martial elements are part of a performance. Dancers leap, spin, strike, but they're all telling a story, often from Ramayana, Mahabharata. What was once taught as battlefield movement is now used to retell a moment from the past. But it also reminds us of how strong our body needs to be and why we knew how to protect ourselves. In Puducherry, Garadi follows the same pattern. It's performed during festivals honoring Hanumana. And in Karnataka, Veergase does something very similar. Swords are part of performance, and so is the message. It's about invoking strength. about remembering a story from the epics, not through words, but through motion. And all of these forms belong to different regions. They're named differently. Some are fast, some are staged, some are solo, some are in groups, but they all use martial movements in the same way as a tool to carry tradition and honor the memory of our ancestors. Who probably fought through a large part of their lives. They may look different, but they're doing the same work. They bring the discipline of martial arts into the setting of the ritual. They turn combat into performance and performance into something that holds history. And so we find different answers to the same questions. How do we prepare? How do we honor? How do we pass on strength without turning it into aggression? Well, we don't know. It could be different in different places, but the unity is there will always be something. Namaste.